School was created to be a family-style school where teachers share a constant awareness of your students and work hard to know your students and families. That relationship was to ensure that we made it here to graduation. You, our students, were a part of something unique and special at R.E.A.L, an everlasting family that grows larger every year. Here you learned how to communicate with adults who saw you not as a number in a grade book, not as obligations to a job at hand, not as A students or strugglers, but first and always as people deserving our attention and respect in good times and challenging times. So that no matter how big of a challenge we face together, you would know that as long as you had someone nearby, you would have someone to help you prepare to achieve your dreams. You, the R.E.A.L School graduates of 2021, are about to embark upon a journey more complex than any that us older adults ever had to embark upon. You will go out into and try to understand a world that is moving faster, competing harder, and being tracked, quantified, and modified more than any that us older folks would have ever imagined or predicted. You likely already understand it more than most of us here with you do. I have stated this every year, and every year we become more aware of how true this really is. You are ready in part because you were never a number at the R.E.A.L School. You were always an important person who was known and appreciated. Whether you knew it or not, we were aware of you at all times. We had caring and compassionate discussions about you every Tuesday and Thursday, every week of every year. You spent time with your homeroom teachers every single day. If you needed a minute, we gave it. If you needed 20 minutes, we were there for you. Our family knew that this moment, right here, right now, was what we were focused on every single day. So wherever you go, whatever you do, try to see others in the same way that we saw you. Try to understand who you are communicating with. Try to consider the value of their presence in your life at that moment in time and their possible importance to your future. Stay steady. Tolerate the people who challenge you, much like the older students at R.E.A.L tolerated you when you were in middle school, or even when you were a freshman in high school. 2 years ago, I received a letter from a new 9th grader to R.E.A.L who wrote, "We have a great community of students here that help out even the smallest of all 6th graders. When I entered R.E.A.L for the first time, I thought I was going to get harassed by seniors, but it was a very different case when I entered this school. I was welcomed by all and loved by all. Seniors were very nice to me, and now I am good friends with a couple of them." So continue recognizing the value in others. If you can do this, your life will be rewarded, your work, play, and family will be fulfilling, and you will accomplish what your family at the R.E.A.L School has prepared you for. Above all else, take care of yourself. Be kind to others and surround yourself with good people. And now as you go off into this incredible world with new challenges ahead of you, know this. Each time you communicate with an adult, be they 20, 30, 50 years old or older, you have been prepared to confidently, respectfully, and humbly hold your head up and participate in the world before you. Your ability to interact with us, relate with us, laugh with us, and sometimes cry with us these past several years was equally and occasionally more important than the academics at hand. To live successfully in this fast and constantly changing world, you will need to be able to handle learning and relearning and adjusting on the fly. This will not be done in a vacuum. You will be amongst others not like you. How will you handle the social framework of the people you must learn with? At R.E.A.L, you learned a special human quality. You may not entirely realize it yet, but once immersed out there, you will. Whether it is in college or career, you will hear the difference. You will hear and understand that sound of human caring, understanding, compassion, and empathy. You will understand how the relationships you build at R.E.A.L School and the experience of working daily with adults who knew you, cared about and for you, and considered you family have prepared you for the adult relationships you are now responsible for on your own. Graduating together today represents your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to share the long-anticipated graduation moment that is 1,000,000% positive, exhilarating, and meaningful. Even if it is a little unusual this year, it is your last R.E.A.L School moment together as students, and it is your first step into a world completely different than anything you have experienced in your lives thus far. As graduates, you are becoming adults academically and free to choose your next step and pursue it with passion and purpose. From this day forth, believe that whenever your heart is full and your mind is strong, or when your body is tired and your will is weak, there are others like you who came from this exact same place and shared the same challenges in life, who understand your struggle, because like you, they were prepared by the real school, and you, like them, are ready. You are ready to leave here tonight and say to yourself, I am ready for what is to come. You will be a real graduate of the 2021 graduating class. Next, please welcome the 2021 valedictorian, John Sisler.
Freshman year, we were the first ones to choose a pathway that we would follow the rest of our high school careers. Being the first to go through these pathways, we're going to meet some challenges. These challenges presented themselves in the form of college-level academic error because the college curriculum did not change just because we were in high school. General confusion because sometimes we didn't know what direction the ship was sailing in. We were just along for the ride. And pressure to succeed because if we fail, what would happen to the class after us? Even though these situations seem frustrating at the time, in retrospect, all of these events but mostly in disguise, as made us adaptable, able to tackle challenges we never thought would be able to achieve, and it sets us up to handle an unpredictability of life. And if you could get through this past or film school, I think you could pretty much do anything. Regardless of where you're going or what you're doing, all of us need to make sure that the word success is associated with what we do. I believe that we all have what it takes. And next, I want to thank the teachers and parents for always listening to what we have to say, for going the extra mile, and for being admirable to us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to grow and succeed. I want to end the speech with a quote from R.E.A.L. saying, "Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path on the trail." Thank you.
Next, please welcome 2021 salutatorian, R.E.A.L.
Sometimes about nothing at all, but in the end we got through it, and we always found things to enjoy. Freshman year we watched Romeo and Juliet, and were graced with such words of wisdom as, "I love when they argue, it's like they're speaking their own language, but it's English." This movie's great. We were the guinea pigs for the engineering pathway, where we had competitions at Gateway to see whose paper airplane could fly the farthest, and whose device could put a golf ball in the most cups from the second story. Sophomore year, we learned for SolidWorks from Gucci. A stuffed Peppa Pig got thrown on Gateway's roof. It's still there, by the way. It's gray now. We made paper boats and filled them with coins and tannies, and ended up splashing the water at each other. Junior year, we got to know our sixth grade buddies. Some of them liked us. We spent silent reading playing the unicorn game in Phil's, and for a little while we were stuck in the tiniest room at Gateway because of construction. We played hide and seek at Franksville Park. In English, we discussed whether or not purple is a flavor. It's not. And we discussed which Jolly Rancher was the best. Grape? What? And we did not have to go to school for the entirety of fourth quarter. This year, we got to sleep in and didn't have to leave our beds to go to school. And when we did come back, not everybody chose to. Some of us who did got to have an ice cream party in gyms. Yesterday, we played one more round of the unicorn game. And even though some of us were very late, and some of us decided to sleep instead, we had a good time. We have grown so much these years, and it's thanks to the faculty here at R.E.A.L, our families, and our friends. We've gotten so used to seeing some of these faces every day, it's going to be very strange not seeing them next year when we enter the real world. and most of us will never see each other again. So while I can't say what's going to happen next, and I can't promise we are going to do great things, I can promise 3 things. 1, I'm number 1. 2, Wednesday is the best day of the week. And 3, we will always be able to find the fun in life. So I'd like to wish everyone the best of luck for the future and whatever you do.
Next, we'll have the presentation of the Science Award.
Hello. Each year, as the Science Department Chair, I get to choose one student to receive the Senior Science Award, and this year Shannon helped me pick as well. And we talked through a couple of candidates, but we picked the one that we thought was the best fit of interest, effort, and achievement. And this year, the Science Senior Award goes to Brooklyn Toonstra.
We'll begin tonight with 4 seniors who will be presented via recorded message. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, Dan Hoffman was unable to attend tonight due to his daughter's wedding. And our Gateway colleague Jim Jensen was unable to attend due to a prior commitment. Mark Horecki, would you please come up?
Came to the R.E.A.L school in 2014 as a 6th grader. We were in the old building on Peter Street then, and the band room was in the basement. Mark quickly showed you had a lot of talent playing example sax. Mark, I wonder if you remember playing the Gogh night at your first R.E.A.L school concert on December 16th. Or how about your first alto sax solo, Children's Dance and Prayer, which you played at the student music recital. Wow, those years have really flown by. Mark continued to stay very active in the band, playing a remarkable amount of band tour days, parades, and outside performances. I was very fortunate to have Mark in my home group and quickly learned all about his supportive family and where he gets his musical talent from. In the fall of 2018, Mark was part of the R.E.A.L School Jazz Club. We had a lot of fun playing some interesting music and ate a lot of donuts. Also in that year, Mark expanded his musical horizon and would jump back and forth between the alto and bass saxes. This added a lot to the overall sound of the band. Mark is that kind of performer who can have a true impact on an ensemble. Along with his stellar music career going strong, Mark will achieve graduating with a 3.775 GPA. Way to go, Mark. You really get it. Do high school right. In March of 2020, at the WSMA, Mark performed the song R.E.A.L to a Class A, first place finish. A true testament to this fine young man's ability. Mark's plans for the future involve some guarded optimism. He's going to spend his first year working while the rest of the world figures out the ending of this pandemic. Following that, things might be closer to the normal he remembers, at which time he expects to enter a university to begin his career in the business world. Mark, I have no doubt you will go far in whatever endeavor you set your mind to. I am very proud to know you, and will miss your hard work and effort very much. You made it so easy for me to arrange music. You can always play where I want. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you R.E.A.L school graduate, Mark Anthony Horecki.
Next we have Jonathan Vaughn. Jonathan, please come on up.
Johnny B. John first came to the R.E.A.L school in the fall of 2017. I was very lucky to have been chosen to be his home group advocate. Little did I know that by second semester that year, I would be sending weekly grade reports home. These weekly emails with your mom kept up through most of your high school career. I guess the extra attention paid off because you're here today. To those of you who don't know John, I can describe him as a tall, lanky kid with a smile as wide as he is tall. He's as great at sports, and if you're picking sides for a basketball game, I would pick him first. John's interpretation of silent reading was more like quiet nap time. He didn't snore, John, so we just let it go. Psychologists refer to the difficulties in the background of our life as noise. This noise distracts us from the things we are doing. Oftentimes, it changes the path we are on, making it difficult to maintain our focus and direction. John, I am very proud of you for fighting through all the noise in the background of your life and making it here today. For John's immediate future, he has chosen one service. He will be enlisting with the United States Marine Corps. This is a most honorable and selfless path to volunteer to defend this nation, the Constitution, and our way of life. I salute you, my friend. John, I will offer you this advice for the future. You can achieve any goal you work for. Go forward with the confidence you have right now. Always look toward the future. Keep your head down and always respond with, yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you middle school graduate, Jonathan Wesley Hall.
Next up, we have Elena Gonzalez. Elena, please come on up.
Elena Gonzalez. When Elena first came to the R.E.A.L school as a sixth grader in 2014, she was playing with her. Elena and I hit it off right away, and I was recently reminded of that by finding a picture of us together on the old Erie Street playground. In your first R.E.A.L school concert, Elena, you probably remember the joy you felt playing Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. By 2017, I was fortunate enough to have Elena in my home group, and Elena was playing the tenor sax by then. She had already established her high intelligence by earning mostly A's from her classes. Also in 2017, during the WSMA Music Festival, she earned high marks performing solos on both the tenor sax and piano. Elena is a very talented and intelligent young lady, but doesn't like to make a big deal about it. She has a high degree of humility that most people mistake for shyness. Those of you that really know Elena know that she doesn't have a shy bone in her body and has no problem speaking her mind with that place. Elena enjoyed the fun we had in jazz club, though I felt a little odd playing piano while she played the tenor sax, because by that time, she was a much better piano player than I. Elena earned a Class A First Place Award for her performance of Opus 9, No. 2 in 2019, and in March of 2020, received the First Place Award at State for her performance of Chopin's Prelude in C-sharp minor on piano. Elena told me her favorite key is C-sharp minor because the chords are so dramatic. Elena has worked very hard academically to maintain her position near the top of her class. She was rewarded for her efforts by receiving a scholarship to UW-Madison, which she will attend this fall. I hear she will be having a really nice roommate that is also from the R.E.A.L school band. Interestingly enough, Elena is the third piano in a row from the R.E.A.L school band to receive a scholarship to UW-Madison. Kurt, there might be something there. While at Madison, Elena intends to study pharmaceutical engineering and research. Elena, if Madison doesn't work out, you might give modeling a try. I saw your pictures from prom, and you look very beautiful. Elena, if you think about being an elementary fall, please remember that one of the best things you could do for your old high school band director would be a pair of tickets to Camp Randall. I'll buy lunch. Elena, we've had so much fun together over the years. I am truly sorry to see you go, but so proud of what you have accomplished at the same time. I will miss you a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you real school graduate, Elena Gonzalez.
Next up, we have Ashley Van Gordon. Ashley, please come on up.
Ashley Van Gordon has attended the real school since 6th grade. She has been a student of mine at R.E.A.L for the last 2 years. She started off quiet. We didn't know what to expect at first. After getting to know her more in class, she came out of her shell and really blossomed. So much so that she soon became my favorite student. And then she asked me to introduce her at graduation. I am honored. But unfortunately, I was required to be out of town this coming weekend. Then we talked and found out that we could record this message, and I am so grateful and honored to present Ashley's diploma. Ashley is planning on attending UW Green Bay this fall. She's currently undecided about a major, but I'm sure that she will be successful in whatever degree she pursues. I wish Ashley nothing but the best for her future, and I am confident that she will go on to do great things. Congratulations, Ashley Marie Van Gordon.
Jack Fabricant came to our home group 4 years ago, sitting quietly in the back of the room, diligently getting his work. Sophomore year, I got to talk to him a little bit more, though most of us asked him to go down to another room to finish his engineering work. Last year, we finally started having more actual conversations. I already knew that the man who stands before me tonight is highly intelligent and has a tenacious work ethic that will surely lead him to success in the future. However, I started to see another side of Jack, as an individual of integrity and moral character through his friendships and interactions with both staff and students at R.E.A.L. Unfortunately, due to the events of this past year, our conversations were very limited. But Jack, I still know the person you've become. Even if you're not 100% sure about your future, which is a normal thing for everyone, continue to stay honest to who you are and what you want out of life, and I can guarantee that you will achieve everything you put your mind to. Congratulations, and good luck with your future endeavors in engineering. Yeah. Leah Bauer has been stuck with me as your math teacher for the past 4 years. We all are well aware of her phenomenal academic ability, but I have seen her grow from that quiet freshman getting all the answers on the test correct to a much more outspoken and confident woman who still gets all the answers correct on the test. Being a math teacher, I'm always nervous when a student asks me to write them a letter of recommendation, worried my words might somehow prevent them from getting accepted. However, there was no pressure with Leah because I knew her academic merits and achievements would ensure her acceptance into UW-Madison, where she plans to major in both dance and elementary education. Leah, you've been a joy to have in my classroom and will be missed here at R.E.A.L. Though I can take solace in the fact that you'll be helping shape the minds of our next generation. And if you can help a bunch of energetic boys get through high school math, I can't even begin to imagine what you'll be able to accomplish with much younger, yet also possibly more mature students. I am proud to be on this stage tonight, future teacher and fellow Badger. I know you will excel at Madison next year and in years to come. Congratulations.
Jesse? First, I'd like to say congratulations, class. Well done. This is a weird class for me because this is the first time in 21 years that I didn't get a chance to teach the entire class for 4 years. So some of you I had for the first time this year, so it was a little weird, but it was really nice to finally get to teach some of you and get to know you. So, all right, here we go. All right, Jesse. Jesse is one of the nicest, kindest students I've ever had. You can always count on a friendly hello and how are you from Jesse. I had Jesse in my home group her freshman and sophomore years. She did move on to Sheila's, but we never lost the connection we made, and I've always considered you one of my home groupies. A big shout out goes to you, Sheila, for helping her get to this point where she is tonight. And that is right here on the stage, receiving your diploma. You should be very proud, Jesse. I know I am, and I know your parents are too. Congratulations. David. All right, David, where to begin? First, I need to congratulate Erica. Mom, congratulations. You did it. We got to graduate. Seriously though, Erica, I really appreciate all the help and support you gave over the years. It was really, really appreciated. Thank you. Now, of all my students who stayed remote this year, you were the one I wish would have came back in person the most. I miss our talks. I miss your positive energy and presence, and that's probably what I miss the most. And when David walks in the room, and you're in the presence of David, you know it. It's different, and that's what I missed the most. So I also missed shooting better than basketball too. David, you are one of the most very intelligent, special young men. It's been an honor to teach you and be your home teacher for the last 4 years. Good luck next year at Gateway. David will be studying electrical engineering. I know you're going to do amazing, special things in your life because that's who you are and you deserve it. Congratulations, Deepak.
Jaden. I am very honored to speak for Jaden today. Jaden will be attending Carthage College to study psychology and, in his own words, something in the arts. Psychology and something in the arts make so much sense. In writing these words, I thought about Jaden's freshman and sophomore year in Spanish class. Jaden came to R.E.A.L as a freshman, and despite that, he and a few of his friends, Jesucita and Maris, clicked with me right away in Spanish 1. And it was as if I had known them since 6th grade like many of the other students. I remember thinking they are what we always hope our students to be at our small school: kind, respectful, and willing to try their best in school. I would remember Jaden's quiet demeanor, but always quiet demeanor, but always a lot of effort on his projects, excellent participation despite being a little bit shy. The quality of your work was always very good, and the way you reacted and related to your peers makes me certain that you will do great in the field of psychology, willing to always listen carefully in order to truly understand people's needs and provide the best care that you can. Being able to express yourself through any arts is also very representative of the amazing qualities you have as an individual, Jaden. Congratulations on your graduation, and I wish you the best in your future. Thanks again for picking me to speak on your behalf. Kevin Garcia. My Spanish teacher taught me algebra. It's how Kevin started a few of his essays in English class, and Blair and Ashley shared with me right away, and it made me feel so special. The best way to explain those words is by telling you about a big breakthrough for Kevin, his family, and myself. 6th to 8th grade were not easy for Kevin. He was not very motivated. He didn't seem to get what he was supposed to do better than C's, D's, and even a few F's. This was very concerning for his parents, of course, and at the end of 8th grade, we decided we needed to do something. So I volunteered to tutor him and prepare him ahead for subjects like algebra and biology, because those were the hardest ones for him. Mind you, Kevin is here, ready to start his career at Gateway with the long-term goal of becoming an electric engineer. So how did we get to this point? It was our first tutoring session in my dining room, doing some basic math problems in Spanish, and we both stopped and looked at each other in disbelief. Kevin had solved something that even I had to think carefully about. I couldn't get it. Honestly, I thought math was so hard for him, but it seemed so clear that he got it. And then with more problems and more problems, it was like, what's going on? What has been happening all these years? So then we realized math problem was truly a language problem. Like many of us who are bilingual, Kevin did his processing for math in Spanish, his native language, and that was it. From then on, our tutoring sessions became a true delight for him and for his parents, who, after I told them about our discovery, they said, "Sí, maestra, we knew he was just being lazy." Immediately, then 9th grade was so successful, and teachers like Laura and Clint were key to make him so confident in his math skills. And from then onwards, it was all Kevin and his teachers, who, by the way, Consuelo and Alfredo asked me to tell you all, gracias from the bottom of their heart. And you, Thomas, his humble teacher, thank you for everything you did for him. I had to take a little time to speak in Spanish to his parents. Felicitaciones por este gran logro. Esto es para ustedes también por todo su esfuerzo, por su apoyo, por creer en su hijo, y que todo es posible cuando le echamos ganas de verdad. Así que esto es para ustedes también. Felicitaciones. Kevin, the sky is not the limit. No words are enough to tell you how proud I am of you. I can't wait to see you triumph and succeed. And if things are hard, you have proved yourself that it is okay to take things slowly and ask for help and redo things and pick yourself back up and keep going. Keep going, Kevin. Sí se puede.
You want to come up? Hello everyone, my name is Brad. I'm one of the social studies teachers here. I wanted to first say I'm really honored that Ronnie picked me to introduce you tonight. I'd say I first met Ronnie 4 years ago, and we were both new to the R.E.A.L school. It was a freshman U.S. history class, and I've had him in several classes over the years and got to know him pretty well. I think some of my favorite memories of Robbie is when we would get together for lunch. I know he would sometimes have some other students come in, and we started off watching movies and kind of hanging out. It eventually got to be a place where more students would come, and eventually we would play video games on the big screen, and everybody kind of came in, and it was a lot of fun. I think that was his sophomore year. One of the other things that really sticks out about Robbie to me is his selfless nature. He's always been someone that's been willing to help others. I know he's really gifted with technology, and there's lots of times where if I had any kind of questions or needed help, he was always the guy that I would go to. I know sometimes he could do things that even I didn't know how to do. I know one time we were playing around in our room, and he took one of our cell phones and did something and was able to have the cell phone, and essentially the recording of the cell phone was playing on our smart screen, and he kind of walked around the building, and all of us were paying attention to that. And like I said, it was pretty neat. I still don't know how he did it. So I guess the last thing I'd like to say is congratulate Robbie and wish him the greatest success. Graduation is a huge event in his life, and I wish him the best. Congratulations.
Benjamin Zerzanek. So, Ben, I'm thinking back to all the times that I taught you in class for, like, my favorite memory. I never taught you in class. But, as I was reflecting on this, I kind of went back to the idea of the R.E.A.L school, about how we encourage relationships between adults and our students. And when I met you when you were in 8th grade, I wasn't your teacher, but you were in Ben's history class. I'd wander through, talk to you, form that relationship. Over the years here at our new campus, continued to see you in the hall. So we were able to continue that relationship. Funny how quick our relationship grew was based on how often you were in the hall. But the last 2 summers have been a blast. Really having intense conversations with you on the lifeguard stands and learning about you as a person. I've really missed not seeing you in these halls. I've missed our conversations. It's great to see you. I'm sad, I'm gonna miss you at the beach. But again, if you ever need anything, you know where to find me. Chair 5, underneath the umbrella. Ben is continuing on with a new adventure. He is entering the Air Force. I knew it was for real when I got the official envelope for Ben's military security clearance. Do you trust him? And I'm looking at nuclear weapons but Ben, you are going to do great things. To you and the rest of the class of 2021, best of luck, and we'll miss you. Thank you.
Brennan, come on up. It's so crazy to be standing up here today speaking for Brennan. It seems like it was just yesterday that we were both starting our journeys at R.E.A.L school together. Fortunately for me, as a new teacher to R.E.A.L school, I was in the correct classroom for home group. Unfortunately, as a new 6th grader, he was not. There is no doubt in my mind that he would have been just fine in Letty's home group, but he made a really good point. How different could his life have been? Would he have met Kyle? Probably. But would they be as close as they are today? Who knows? Would he have stayed at R.E.A.L school for high school then? Who knows? But like he said, everything happens for a reason, and he wouldn't change a thing. And that's even after being stuck with me for 3 years. I always knew I could count on Brennan for a good conversation, up-to-date Brewers info, for a laugh on a particularly tough day, and of course to put off doing his compass work until the very last minute and to be very honest about it at conferences. Well, Brennan, I want you to know I wouldn't change a thing. You have shown me what it really means to be a home group teacher. That even after you leave the middle school, we still will track you down to make sure you shape up if you get off track. That we can be lucky enough and find you cool enough to have you check in or just hang out from time to time, and can still be that go-to for help and advice when you're in need. The only difference I found is that now I'm the one that has to look up to you. Literally. I'm so proud of you and the wonderful person you are becoming. So kudos to you, Bob and Wendy, because that's all you. I have no doubt that you will find success in whatever you choose to go on to do after you finish your prereqs at Gateway. Physical therapy, life coach on how to not procrastinate, whatever the case may be. Congratulations, Brennan, and best of luck.
Ian, come on up. While he's coming up, I just want to thank my home group parents. This group was my first home group at R.E.A.L. It was my first year at R.E.A.L. And they've been very, very supportive. Not once did they ask me to lower my standards, which is amazing because I didn't know what I was doing when I got here. And I expect a lot of my kids, and they've really been incredible. But I could not have done it without the parents. The parents have been absolutely spectacular here. So thank you to the parents. Ian will be attending Valparaiso University in Indiana to study biology. Ian has spent a lot of his free time in the last 4 years participating in Park Panther baseball and Boy Scouts. Ian is an Eagle Scout, so unsurprisingly, he's always willing to help. Quite often, he offers before you even have to ask. He'll spend the summer before leaving for college as a camp counselor at the Ed Bryant Scout Reservation in Boston, Wisconsin. I would like to say we have a shared love of comic action heroes, but that would be a lie. He is a fan of the genre in general, but I have an unhealthy obsession with Aquaman, which he in turn has enabled over the years by gifting me enough Aquaman stuff to make my office look like it belongs to a Jason Momoa stalker. When Ian cares about something, he will let me know. Since I'm not a mind reader, I appreciate this. He's not shy about making his feelings known, which is one of the reasons why I chose this quote for him. He will know the other reason. The world only makes sense if you force it to. Bruce Wayne, Dark Knight Returns. Ian, when you're at college and you find yourself in a situation where the world does not make sense, and it will happen, make sure you find a healthy outlet so college doesn't become so overwhelming. You have definitely learned to advocate for yourself over the last 4 years, so I'm sure you'll do great. Good luck at R.E.A.L, Ian. Deborah, come on. Deborah will be attending Olivet Nazarene University in Bourbonnais, Illinois, to major in criminal justice. There's a lot of words in there I did not know how to pronounce, I had to Google them. She spent the last 4 years playing in her band, working a lot of hours at Starbucks, and playing sports at Park High School, Gogh and volleyball. Deborah is very chill at school. I'm not sure if that's the same outside of school, but here the only thing that gets her to show any spark is usually her fellow homegroupie Ben. Where's Ben? Yeah. Some days he didn't even do anything to her, but just look at her a certain way to get her fired up. I spent a lot of time at home group being their referee, but no one in our home group, including the two of them, ever seemed to know what they were arguing about. The quote I selected for Deborah is a quote from Nelson Mandela. He said, "There's no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that is less than the one you're capable of." I'm just not sure Deborah found her passion here over the last 4 years, and that's okay, it's not uncommon. I hope you find your passion out of it. I think criminal justice will be a good fit for you, and I suggest that should you follow that path to the end, Ben would be wise to avoid the community you work in. Good luck at all of that, Deborah. Ben. I would like to thank Ben's mom for answering all my emails. Ben will be attending Gateway Technical College next year. He spent his time at the R.E.A.L school, taking about 20 credits of physical education, and mesmerizing Deepak with his basketball skills. The quote I have chosen for Ben is from a motivational speaker named Tony Robbins. He said, "Communication is power. Those who have mastered its effective use can change their own experience of the world and the world's experience of them." My advice to Ben is, return emails. If you had, the speech would have been longer. Congratulations, Ben, and good luck to you. Emily. Emily will be attending the Milwaukee School of Engineering in the fall for electrical engineering. I I know Emily will agree that she's come a long way since freshman year. Emily has become my rock in our home group. Laura even told me I was going to cry, and I said, no, I'm not, and now I think I'm going to cry. That's why I saved her for last. All right. When I get a little feisty, she reminds me to relax. When I need help, she's there to pick up the slack. She's one of the kindest people I've ever met. Emily spent the last 4 years studying hard, working, helping out with scouts, and being my unofficial home group assistant, and camping with her family. We have a shared love of the outdoors and camouflage clothing. Although she took it to the next level with her prom dress this year. She has always been incredibly bright, but has now matured and learned to focus on what's important and block out minor distractions, which is why I chose to pull from NASA female specialist and engineer Kalpana. The path from dreams to success does exist, but you have the vision to find it, the courage to get onto it, and the perseverance to follow it. You have big dreams, and I know you have the perseverance to follow through with those dreams, if you don't let the small stuff distract you from that path. Good luck at MSOU.
Here we go. So, Jordan, I call my bonus tutor. When we got through Canada at first, I ran to the office at the end of the school year and I said, the second teacher's coming, and this one's mine too. Like, okay, we got it. So the school year started and teachers came back, and I didn't really think anything of it because I kept seeing teacher on my list. So I'm like, oh, got it, yeah, we got this. So then I go last day, right before school starts, and I start writing names on the banners, and I'm writing names, and I'm like, that is not how you spell Harvard. And I'm a bad speller, but I was pretty sure. And I run to the office in my dramatic way, and I'm like, Kurt, I got the wrong tutor. I got the wrong tutor in my home group. We got to switch this out. He's like, don't worry, spell them out. He's like, just go find out who has her, and then we'll swap them out. And I was like, well, I can just keep them. And they're like, no, you gotta, numbers already done, you gotta swap. And this was probably my favorite time that I disregarded what Kurt said. Yeah, keep making fun of me. So I kept Jordan, and it was amusing for the 3 years that I had him. I have never had someone in my home group that rarely got in trouble, but when he did, it was for the most ridiculous things. Like maybe breaking the ruler in Katie's class, or just ridiculous things. But he always would start, I know, Sarah, I know. And I would have to call Holly, and it was this big deal. So even as a junior, his name came up one time in the staff meeting in all his years since I didn't have him. And my home group knows that once you're mine, you're always mine. So his name comes up as a junior, and I went to find him. And it wasn't even a big deal, but I was going to find him. And you knew I was looking for him. And you hid for me for a solid week. But I was in our class, and Haley happened to have the door open, because she was in the kiln room, and I heard your laugh. And I stopped my sixth graders. I'm like, everybody stop. I gotta go get Jordan. So I walk into the room, and he's working on some fake thing right by the door. That was your fault, because I could hear you. And he stops what he's doing, and I swear you could sense me, because you never once looked over at me, and I just stood next to you, and your friends in the class all got really quiet. Never looked at me one time, and he was like, I know, Sarah. I know. It's okay. I know. And I was like, good. But if you would have looked at me, you would have realized that I had lost my whole scowl on my face because I didn't realize that you were now 7 feet tall. So I forgot what I was mad about when I walked in there. I was like, what is going on? Jordan exceeded at our engineer program here, and he's going to go to UW Milwaukee, and he is going to continue being an engineer, and he's going to be amazing at whatever he chooses to do, whatever field he goes into in engineering. And I'm very proud of you, and I'm super glad I kept you. And I didn't cry. All right, Brooklyn. This is my gift. All right, Brooklyn. We'll see about this. So the first time I met Brooklyn, I don't think you can remember this, I don't think you could remember this, was at Lockwood. And my husband was playing softball with her dad. And I remember, and I didn't even have kids at this time, but he was talking about his 3 daughters, and he mentioned her name, kind of looked over, and I looked over and I saw this little bitty 3-year-old sitting in the dirt, covered in head to toe in dirt. And at this time I didn't have my own kids, so I thought it was cute, you know. But now as a mom, I realize that that's horrifying. But she's covered in dirt, and she's making these little piles, she's putting stones on them. I'm like, oh my God, she's so cute. And these older boys started walking past you, and I almost stopped them because they clearly didn't see you. And I was like, oh, they're going to stump on her little piles. And she had the meanest look on her face. And she puts her arms out, and she's like, watch out! And I was like, holy cow, this kid is awesome. Like, and she did not disappoint me. She came into my homeroom. She is incapable of hiding what she feels on her face. This is why I'm not going to cry, because she'll give me a dirty look. I enjoyed every second of you in my homeroom. Brooklyn is going to Cedarville University in Ohio, and she's going to go to be a nurse, well, pre-med. And I asked her, and she said, well, the world needs nurses right now, and I was like, that is an understatement. And then without even another breath, she goes, and then I might go to law school. And I was in my head, I'm like, you're crazy. Don't you know how money is? Do you know how long I'm going to be in school? But then I thought back to that little girl. And I realized that she definitely could. And I just don't know. But I'm proud of you. I love you. Yes. I am ready. All right, Mom. These tears are holding me sorry. When Ryan first asked me to speak for her, I said, I'm the nurse kid teacher. I said, I can't speak for you. So then she went on to talk to Kurt about my knowledge. And then she came back and said, girl, guess what? Kurt said you can do it. So here we are today. I'm excited that we made it here. Hold on a second. I have watched her come in and out of my office, multiple reasons. I don't think any of them because you were really sick. She got a couple passes to the bathroom. I was the bathroom. A couple passes to the office. I was the office. But needless to say, I watched her blossom from sassy, did a whole 360, and I'm very proud of you. She's going to be going to UW Great Bay for a social worker, and I know she'll be awesome. Congratulations.
First off, I have to say, it's so nice to see your faces. I was really sick of seeing your emojis and bitmojis and random pictures for the last year, so I'm glad to see you. Okay, let's start with Matt. Come on up. Or Matthew, you still have his name, which you prefer. Sometimes I felt like you don't have a lot of connection because you're just so quiet and you're always so focused on getting your work done. One of my favorite things about teaching seniors is that I get to learn so much about them as we work toward getting to college process. And that was definitely the case here. I also promised the kids that I will never tell anyone what they write about, so I'm not going to tell anyone. But I really love getting to hear about your interests and some of the things that you've done over the past year, and it really made me understand you a lot. Here's my advice to you. We have a lot of really cool things to say and really cool things that you're interested in and good at. Share it with people. They would love to know more about you. One of the other cool things about you is that you value learning for the sake of learning, not just getting grades, not just playing a game. And so when you start college in fall, I want people to see that part of you. I will end with this. The email you sent to ask me to speak for you was probably one of the nicest things I've ever received. I saved it, and I'll probably pull it out to read on days when I feel like I'm failing as a teacher. To remind me that sometimes I do something right. So thank you. Congratulations, Matthew Poppick. Jesse. Oh, Jesse, you don't know how much I missed you this year. I can always count on you, and I can see it right now, to walk into my room with a huge smile on your face and just say hi, no matter what was happening in your day or your life. You have always been that conscientious, friendly student, more than maybe anyone I've ever had. If you were absent, you popped in to tell me where you were going, and then you sat by every one of your teachers to make sure that you had your work. If you knew you were going to be absent, you got your work in advance and you got it done. If you were all caught up, you read a book. Perfect place for you to be. This says a lot about who you are, and that attention to your work will help you go so far in your life. I have a little advice for you as well. You have such great personality and so many intelligent thoughts. Please share them with the world. All those books you read just show what a deep thinker you are, as well as giving you great perspective on how people behave. Do you see how I brought reading and the point of reading into the speech? This will be so valuable to you in college and beyond. Please make sure you share those insights with people, and please keep reading. Congratulations. Every morning of junior year, Brian would stop by my room and say hi to me. Sometimes we chatted until school started, sometimes we only had a few seconds to say a quick hello and how are you. When school closed last year, that's literally the thing I missed most. Imagine my surprise when Brian started chatting me on Google Hangouts just to say hello. It wasn't every day, and sometimes there were like 12 hours between our responses to each other. But I look forward to hearing from you all of those times. I'm so glad you came back in person. I know I didn't always have time to chat with you like you might have wanted over the years, but our chats are something that will always happen. Especially when you consider your freshman year up until now. High school's not always easy for you, but your determination to work through it and your willingness to work with me and to talk to me about things has really helped you grow and mature, and it's helped me grow and mature as well. Every year at the beginning of the year, Kurt asks us to tell a story to the new staff about a week of success. Ryan, you will always be mine. picture's gonna be terrible. Sorry. Nick. So the good news with this one is that this isn't really a goodbye. It's more like I'll probably see you tomorrow. Nick lives around the corner, and we see each other and our families in the neighborhood pretty often, which means this should probably be a pretty easy speech, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Nick, you are pretty much the dream homegroup student. I think over the course of 4 years, you had like 4 missing assignments total. Your parents came to every single conference, and were also super fun, so thank you for that. You turned in every commission slip, and you never really made me have to try very hard. But in addition to that, you were just like part of the home group. You talked to the kids who were older than you when you were a freshman, and then when you got older, you talked to the younger kids as well. And you may have given them advice, I don't really know, but you also just talked to them like they were your friend. And your easygoing personality kind of makes everyone else feel comfortable, even if they aren't talking to you. You were such a presence in the room that was welcoming and easy to be around. Of all of those things, that's what I'm going to miss most. And it's going to be pretty hard to replace. However, that's also what's going to take you the farthest into college and your career. So instead of goodbye, I'm just going to say I'll see you soon. Congratulations, Nick.
So let's see here. Let me just round into shape here. I have a bit of a preamble. Let me just run through that for a moment. So, each student I'm speaking for this evening has been with me for multiple years. Some of them not all 4 years of high school. Some of them have been 4-year home group students. But each of them has had, a unique and challenging journey to get to this point. Some have had a very challenging path to get to this point. In the last 12 to 16 months have been difficult in many ways. A lot of students walking across this stage. Yes, does it sound okay? Am I a little close to my things? I'll take notes as we go, please. Let me know. I'll sound up there. And so a lot of students walking the stage there are uncertain maybe about what tomorrow brings, where they'll be a year from now, 5 years from now. And that's okay. I believe in all of you. Let me interrupt myself. Congratulations to all of you here, these faces I'm seeing today. I've seen all of you for several years now, and it's the stand here is so dry. We'll figure this out as we go. I'll stop with the preamble. I'll read the last sentence of it. In years past, I would have penned a series of verbose and witty speeches, subtly reflecting on how our energies have crashed into one another over the years. With that said, I will, for everyone's sake, attempt to proceed with brevity. Adrian Morgan, come on. So, Adrian, I don't think I've made any student matter. Oh, sorry, my bad. Reset. I've only watched about 25 of these so far. I'm not sure how the process works. I don't think okay, here we go. And action. I don't think I've made anyone matter more often over a 4-year span than Adrian. But we always circle back to the center. If I have to crack a bad joke, explain why I'm coming at you in a certain way, we've always been able to come back to the center. It's always been a grind. This entire high school thing, it's never been your jam. I get it. But you've shown up, you've put in the time, we've put up with one another, and now this journey has ended. Thank you to Jenny, Emmy, and Haley on Adrian's behalf. And all of his other teachers as well for getting us to this point. Congratulations on this milestone in your young life, Adrian. And now a haiku for Adrian. Stopping at local childhood deli, young man, young sandwich arts master. Congratulations, Adrian. Even in this moment, Mom's got to tell him to smile. I love it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that would be important. We didn't even hold the diploma. Come on, guys. I don't even know which one's first. You sure this is all? Okay. I was just going down the order of my list here. Yeah, please assist me. I'll just start opening it go like that. Do we have one for this guy? Hey, should we try that picture again? Here we go. That's so good. We got a few more to go. All right. See, I have you one at a time, and I'll find it in my stick here. Drake Daly, come on up. Gym class, high school, humans. These are not things Drake enjoys, and that's okay. We're here, somehow. Maybe we aren't really sure how or why, but we are. It brings me much joy to have you here with us today. Life is water. This is water. We are water. Let go of your default self. Do not fear, and it will be absolutely fine. Thanks to Tammy and Justin on Drake's behalf, and to all of Drake's teachers. Congratulations, Drake. And now, haiku for Drake. Who you? I knew I was going to lose the vote. Who you? Fu Manchu? Long time gone, long time coming. Frank's red hot mustache. Congratulations, Drake. It's only two so far? I feel like I've been up here for... Okay, here we go. Jalen Irvin. I just have to take my time, wait for the parents to get up to this point. That's how this process works. All right. Jalen Irvin. Jalen would like to thank her mother, Julie, Sheila, and me for years of nagging and pushing and communication to get to this point. High school has been a real challenge, and we know how much you wanted to get to this point. Even if at times life totally got in the way, derailed things, and made it seem impossible at times. We're here, you did this. Even though what's next might be unclear, I fully believe you will do great things, and your best days lie ahead. Congratulations, Jalen. A haiku for Jalen. Traipsing through a fog, you may find a setting sun. Your soul, it's your soul. Congratulations. Who do we have here? Alex Gogh. So I have some notes written to myself here as I went through and tried to proof these, and at the top of this I have accent with a question mark. But I won't read it with an accent. That would just be way too weird. But you'll be able to tell why I thought about reading it with an accent. Okay. Alex Gogh. Alas, the time has drawn nigh, and here we stand at the crossroads, a milestone in your young life. When I reflect on our time, it seems so fleeting. Sometimes I feel as though I hardly know you, yet I do know you, and it's a privilege. You are truly someone I hope to know for years to come. Fortunately for me, as one Gogh spreads his wings, another has just begun her journey, and alas, this joyful experience shall continue for years to go. Alex would like to thank his parents, his sister, and all of his teachers over the years. Congratulations, Alex. Now venture forth into the rising sun. A haiku for Alex and Darian. General Custer comes down from mountain paths, preaching of pastries. Congratulations, Alex. Now we're scooping. My Larry. Hey. It was important to Maya that her speech be the best of all of these speeches. So apologies, Maya. I'll leave that up to the audience to decide. But here goes nothing. Maya, we've had a lot of laughs, we've had tears, we've had lows, we've had highs, and a whole lot of in between. At the end of 10th grade, we knew you would graduate. Halfway through 11th grade, I was still pretty confident. At the end of 11th grade, still pretty much had me sold on the idea. Halfway through 12th grade, well, as the confidence waned a little. But we're here, you've done it, and that's all that matters. Maya would like to thank her mom and dad, Dan, and all of her teachers. Congrats, Maya, and now a haiku for Maya. Babbling rabbits have Festivus 157, laughing at numbers. Congratulations, Maya. So yeah, these haiku can make it pretty weird, just if you haven't figured it out. Because there's a lot of context and sort of inside references there, so. Troy Setzer, excuse me. Troy Setzer. Come on up, Troy. I swore I wouldn't make that mistake either, and of course, that's like when you tell yourself not to forget to bring something with you, and then you get halfway somewhere and you forget to bring it. Anyway, Troy Setzer. Here we go. Troy, your high school journey has been the epitome of self-discovery, of bravery, of finding one's identity. I often reflect on the earliest times we spent together, and now where we've ended up. And it's been an amazing transformation. Quite a ride that has brought us to this moment. You are only beginning to realize your fullest self. It is beautiful to know you. Stay fearless, stay true to yourself. You have emerged, and all that lies ahead is light and opportunity. Grab onto it and never let it out of your sight. A haiku for Troy. Identities bloom with spring's passing, he rises along golden shores. Congratulations, Troy. Well, yeah, I also have a post-amble that we'll be doing. Okay. Zerai. Tough times. Time's tough. Time's been real tough. Nobody knows this more than Z. As I sit here writing this, you're on the other side of my computer screen, pushing senior year to the limit. It's been such a joy to be a small part of your journey, knowing the person you've become, seeing you overcome so many challenges. You are a beautiful human being, with a powerful and passionate voice just waiting to be heard. Do not fear unleashing that voice into the world, through song, through conversation, through your opinions and beliefs. Zerai would like to thank her mother, Loresia, for being an inspiration to keep going, and Tom for always keeping it real. A haiku for Zerai. Taurian tumult. Great voices have breakdowns to break down barriers. Congrats, Zerai. In these few years of doing haikus and these speeches, I've never actually seen a video of myself doing them. And so, if you're out there recording this, and I can catch a clip of that to give myself some feedback, that'd be cool eventually. Because I don't know what it sounds like out there. So grab like, what? Alright. Felicity Traziak. Felicity. What might be said about Felicity? This speech needs to be 63% meows and 100% pink. Despite never actually sampling wet cat food, it has been a healthy chunk of Fancy Feast turkey giblets to get to work with you, find success with you at school, and get a whisker-sized glimpse into your soul, your mind, and what makes you tick. Now the time has come to write the next chapter of your life and find within what path you will take next. Haiku for Felicity. Meow, meow. pink mixture of canned salmon giblets. Please, meow. Congratulations, Lizzie. All right. Last one. Wouldn't have it any other way. Dariante Gray. First off, wow, Andy, just wow. How many times have we said that to one another in the last 3 weeks, let alone the last 4 years?
A lot.
Yeah. What a road it's been for you and your seats coming through middle school. It culminates now with your youngest, Dariante. And then I have some things in here about tater tots and weird references. We'll just skip to the next one. This road we've been down. It's had potholes, speed traps, and even a total front end. Saying it's been a bumpy road would be a cliche understatement. Hence, these other automotive metaphors I tried to come up with. Yet here we are now, and everything up to this point is past. It cannot be changed, fixed, destroyed. It is behind you. So make the most of now, make the most of tomorrow, and protect your neck, son. And now, haiku for Dariante. Put some respect on this haiku. Fenders bending, can't stop the hustle. Congratulations, Dariante.
Got it.
Drop my mask. That's in my back pocket.
Hi, Lily. Charlotte, can you come up here? Let me tell you my favorite trait about Charlotte. It doesn't matter how much she likes you, or how annoying you are to her, or how much convincing you're trying to do. If she doesn't want to do something, she's not going to. She's just going to stand there, and she's going to smile at you, and she's going to laugh at you. Even if it's for her own benefit. And I don't know about for all of you, but for me, that combination of defiance and total awkwardness makes me laugh every single time. I can't help it. I'm not sure if I've ever had an interaction where I didn't end with laughter with Charlotte. And although she was stubborn and really did not want to do what her specific teacher would ask of her, we had success in the end. Eventually, Charlotte, you must have listened to me because you passed by ed class, right, Charlotte? But in all seriousness, Charlotte, very rarely did I have to worry that you wouldn't do what you needed to do in order to be here today. It's not to say you didn't struggle or didn't need someone to cheer you on, but what I mean is that you always worked through your troubles and you've been able to overcome your obstacles.
forever be a person that will happily give you words of encouragement or lend an ear, and probably laugh with you if you need it. Congratulations. Oh, I forgot.
Bear with me, I'm glad I'm not next after the haiku guy. This is my first one. Noel? Noelle is like many students here today. She enjoys art and reading. She is hardworking. She enjoys learning and is absolutely steadfast in her studies. However, Noelle is not a typical teenager, and I wanted to really find a lot of words, and I pulled up a thesaurus, and well, I would have written a book about it. I came out with just some words like polite and caring and cheerful, easygoing, pleasant, and keep going on. She is truly a kind soul. She's beloved by all the staff at R.E.A.L for her kind heart and her infectious smile. I can hear her giggling here. She will greet you several times during the day, and it is absolutely impossible to pass Noelle without smiling back at her. She has the gift of being able to make your day just a little bit brighter. Noelle, your journey has just begun, and the future holds numerous possibilities. You will undoubtedly bring happiness and hard work to any situation you find yourself in. Congratulations, Noelle, on this milestone in your life.
Thank you.
Kyle Benish. Kyle, at first I was a little shocked that you asked me to speak for you today, but the more I thought about it, the more fun and amazing times I remember having in 9 lab and biology with you and the boys. And this is the beautiful part about this school. The relationships we make with you guys in the classroom are not just teacher-student relationships. Instead, we can have that and more. All of the memories I have, the fun conversations, and the jokes you made really just remind me of why I became a teacher in the first place. Not to mention how academically gifted you are and how willing you are to work to go the extra mile as needed. The other great thing about R.E.A.L is we get to know students from young on. Some from even before you are middle school students. Kyle's older sister, Kara, was a 9th grader the year I started teaching at R.E.A.L, 15 years ago now. So as I grew into teaching, Kara was growing into a young adult, and she was talking about you to me. It was almost like I knew you before I even met you. And I know this speech is supposed to be all about you, Kyle, but I did need to say a quick thank you to your mom, Sherry. Thank you for all of your support on the PTSA over the years. You raised 2 amazing people, and we are proud to call them both R.E.A.L School alumni and family. Adara. Once a week, you were in my room, and we started to get to know each other. When you ended up in my home group in 9th grade, I remember being so excited. You have always been such an incredibly hard worker. I know not everything academically comes to you easily, but you have always pushed through that, asked for help when needed, and done your best. I could not be more proud of you. Many of you probably don't know, but Adara was on the powerlifting team for R.E.A.L and even went to nationals 3 times. So I'm going to give you some of her records now. So her record for squat is 350 pounds, bench press 180 pounds, and her highest deadlift, I don't even really know what that is 275 pounds. Adara's plans for the future are to attend UW Parkside and get a degree in computer science and coding and robotics. So you know we're going to be hitting you up to come mentor the robotics team. So this is not goodbye for me, but simply good luck, and I will see you next year. Congratulations. Miami, this is going to be a really hard one for me. So instead of crying about the fact that I missed out on 14 months of being with you in school, I'm going to celebrate the fact that we can move on our relationship to just friends. I'm going to celebrate the fact that you are going to my alma mater, UW-Madison. Go Badgers. I'm going to celebrate that you are going to study and become an amazing pediatric nurse practitioner. Along with celebrating all of the amazing things to come, I also want to give you some advice. I know you are a perfectionist. For the most part, that will only help you advance it. For the most part. But I want you to remember that no one is actually perfect. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to cry about it. And it is okay to lean on a shoulder if needed, and mine will always be there for you. Don't get so caught up in being perfect that you forget about the rest of your life and what makes you happy. Congratulations.
Got it.
Emma. Sizzle. This one's also a really hard one for me. We probably spend more time together than any other students in this building right now. All of the crazy long hours spent looking for sponsors for the robotics team, and the even longer hours spent learning the rules, designing a robot, and building a robot. And we did it together 3 times. I'm pretty sure I saw more of you than my own family during the build season. And I bet your mom would agree. I will never forget all the amazing times we had at competition, from eating hibachi, to going shopping, to making memes of Lindsay drinking Starbucks, and smoking a red line mower. These are truly memories I will cherish forever. And now you are off to college in sunny Florida, and you chose a major that makes this science teacher so proud. I am so excited for you to be the next strong woman in a male-dominated science field. Do not ever let anyone convince you that you are not smart enough, that you are not driven enough, and that you are not strong enough. Because I know you, and you are smart enough, you are driven enough, and you are strong enough. So go out there and make it just a little bit easier for the next generation of females interested in STEM. Break those walls down, and do what you love. Congratulations.
is R.E.A.L. As I look out in the crowd tonight, I see so many beautiful faces. Sixth graders that I have, seventh and eighth. Thank you for helping me with everything, and I look it on to the parents. Thank you and congratulations. Simone? I have known Simone since sixth grade, and she is not only a beautiful person inside, but out. She always is willing to help with anything that I've ever needed, along with drawing her name on my whiteboard with little hearts on that, if you remember. As she got older and went into high school, I could always count on her to come back and say hello with a nice warm smile at me. I could count on you helping me out with all those junior buddy field trips, and you know how many field trips there has been. So thank you very much for that. And of course, Historical Homes Parade that you came and helped me with, thank you again. Simone, you are hardworking, you are a beautiful person, and I know whatever you choose to do, you will succeed. I love you very much. I'm very proud of you. Congrats.
Congratulations, Ashley. As a home teacher for the past 4 years, I think I know you pretty well. But for the rest of you, Ashley is a very kind and warm-hearted person. She's going to stop to help anybody, and she's the kind of person that will give you the shirt off her back. She's been very active in bowling at Gogh High School, and the moment she was able to get a job, she started working, and she's balanced getting good grades with all the bowling, and has worked really hard. I know you will continue to be successful after graduation, and I look forward to seeing the impact that you make on the world. As you keep being who you are and stay true to everything that you believe in, congratulations. God, it's been a long number of years together. Ooh. From typing class to STEM club, which somehow morphed into robotics, and homegroup. The pandemic has brought you, as well as your class, of a normal senior year, whatever that would have been. However, I think it also brought out the best in you. Learning, studying, and focus on whatever you want to do next. John, I'm going to miss our chats, all of our robotic strategy sessions, and seeing you every single day at school. Good luck at MSOE, and I look forward to hearing your name as I know that you will truly transform the world of technology. Congratulations. put in to get to this stage. And I hope that you continue to do great things. If you continue to stay awake and work hard. So congratulations, and I guess wish you the best of luck, no matter what you decide to do.
So we all know the last year or so has been very difficult. And for Lucas, maintaining that connection with some of the emails and the reaching out and things sometimes was a little bit of a challenge. And so what happens sometimes is we cover for one another and we make sure that our graduation does not go by without an appropriate introduction for you and all of our students. And Lucas joined the R.E.A.L school in the 6th grade, and he's a fiercely independent adolescent, finding his way with an occasional minute or two to re-engage with us, your R.E.A.L school family. And it is no surprise to me that he is joining the Army. I do believe he'll excel in the military and will serve our country proudly and with honor. And for that, I hope, and all of our guests tonight as well, and your peers, will be grateful for your service. Best wishes to you, Lucas, and congratulations. So in the past, under normal circumstances, as students are leaving the stage, we prepare those tassels for them, and just avoiding some of the contact. I think we just kind of, this year, sort of forgotten that process, and knowing that we would, at the end, make sure that all of us, all of our students who have their tassels on the right side, if you would please carry your tassels to the other side. I want to take a moment to share with you what I've shared with each graduating class that I've had the honor to introduce. This June, almost to this day, marks 14 years since my father passed. One of the most meaningful memories I carry with me is the day I called him by phone, and when he answered his phone, a landline, of course, I jokingly just said that I needed to move back home. I was around 35 years old at the time, and expected him to laugh and say, not a chance. Instead, without hesitation, he said in the most sincere voice that I could always come home if I needed to. And in that phone call, he taught me what I believe to be one of the most important lessons about parenting. I know each of you are likely excited to see your children off. I ask that you not only be there for your children, but to reassure them that they have a safety net. No matter how badly you want them to leave the nest, let them know that if this crazy world kicks their butt a little, they will have a safe and secure place while they recover. They need to be able to journey out unimpeded by the fear of failure and the risk of no safety net. And to our awesome graduates, hundreds of students, almost 1,000 now, have graduated from the R.E.A.L school over the past 20 years. Countless have reconnected with their class year, other graduating classes, and former teachers through Facebook. We know this isn't the app of choice among adults your age, but it's a good one for this type of purpose. In time, as you realize just how vast this world is, you too may reflect back on the comfort this association provided for you, and you may want to reach out. We will always be your teachers, your friends, your guidance, and your support, because we are family. and we wish you the very best. To the Real School graduating class of 2021, please be kind and be real. And remember that I love you. And the staff. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2021 graduating class of the Real School. Congratulations.